Well, hello, good morning, welcome everyone to The Scoop, the number one video games news podcast in the UK, if we do say so ourselves. I hope that you are having a fantastic day so far. It has just gone 10:38, so we're round about the 10 a.m-ish time that you're used to seeing us, which is absolutely fantastic. It will just be me again today, as Graham has decided to doss it all week. But yeah, again, this is a video game news podcast where we go through all the video game news for today so that you're educated and you can go on with your daily lives knowing everything that you need to know that we think that you need to know. As simple as that.
For the ice cream.
Oh, I've not got chatbot open again. But West with the host, I appreciate it, mate. Thank you very much. I do need to get the author key sorted out so I can have chatbot open. This is why Graham usually does this stuff, so he runs the show and I just give the news, and then it's just we make a very good team. When I do it on my own, I'm not as confident. But anyway, Lake's not here nice and early this morning. Thank you very much. Tito's also here nice and early, and so is Wes. Thank you very much for your host. We very much appreciate it. I hope, again, like I said, that you're having a fantastic day. Basically, when someone does something like that, a host, for some reason, does not come through on your Twitch activity feed, which it absolutely should, but it doesn't. It's only like raids and resubscriptions and follows and stuff like that. All that stuff goes into your activity feed. The rest doesn't, which is poor form from Twitch's side, if I'm being honest. It's nice to be able to have all of that.
Stay frosty, yeah?
Oh, Danny Day with the subscription as well for 17 months. Thank you very much, Danielle. Hope that are you off as well? Are you having a week off along with Graham, or is Graham just dossing it on his own, sat there vegetative on the sofa while you're working behind him? I mean, that's very poor form if that's the case. But thank you very much for your subscription, Danielle. Very much appreciate it. Thank you very much to We've Got Albino as well. I'm sure he's a very handsome devil who subscribed for 32 months. Absolute shagger, I've heard. But yeah, he's there. 32 months. That's got to be close to the top of the league, that. Danielle's got 17. I'm on 32. It's got to be. Wes says that you're doing grand job, sir. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. It's always better with two of us. Graham does the talking bit so much better than I do. I seem to get dry mouth like that. I've got a full bottle of Vimto today to try and get me through it, so we'll see how well that does. I've binned the tea off. My throat was so dry yesterday. I was like, you can hear it. It's bad. Return of the Mac says, morning Northern lads. It's just lad today. It's just me. Danielle says, I live with Graham. I'm always working. That's a very good point. That's what you got, two children in the house. I'm sure he'll say the same thing himself. But yeah, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It is Wednesday. You may be forgiven for thinking it's Tuesday, but Bank Holiday Monday is kind of give us a 4-day week, which we're all very much excited about. It was snowing in Manchester yesterday for about half an hour. I don't know if you can see how bright it is through the window, but I've actually had the window open, the blinds are open, I'm letting a bit of sunlight in. I am ginger, I probably will get sunburnt through this window, but it's worth it in the end, isn't it? Tito says, my condolences. Return the Mac says, all right, morning Northern lad. There we go, that's much better. And then Wes says, hey Mac. So, again, video game news podcast for the UK. We go live each and every single weekday at 10 a.m. ish. We're right slap bang in the middle of it today. I did leave the stream running for about 10 minutes before I actually hit the go live. I changed all of my power lines over yesterday, and I am very, very excited to say that I am getting double the speeds that I have been getting. I was downloading stuff in next to no time last night. So hopefully there will be no frame drops, there will be no internet dips, there will be nothing like that. If it does, then I genuinely have no idea, but the internet seems to be running a hell of a lot better at this moment in time. So I feel like I can stream online games again without it being strenuous and getting Graham to do it from his side where I just participate. So who knows what may be happening this afternoon. But yeah, again, this is Video Game News Podcast. It goes live each and every single weekday at 10 a.m-ish. And you'll be able to find us on demand, whether or not you're watching us on Twitch after the fact or on YouTube. We want you to get you involved in the comments down below as well. The articles are there. All of our links are there. You can find out what we're going to be talking about, blah, 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 blah. Just get involved with the show. And then, obviously, if you are on the move, if you are on the car, if you are going for a jog or a long walk, or hit the golf course, very much like I hope I will be doing this afternoon. You can find us on our podcast services, which is Spotify, iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Google Play of the latter, no one seems to be caring about that. But I did say yesterday that our SoundCloud, our podcast service downloads are literally through the roof. I genuinely had no idea how many of you would be listening to this on demand rather than at the 10 a.m. slot. I know it's a very difficult slot for most people to be able to listen to us because it's usually at the beginning of your working day. 10 a.m. seems to be the most put in meeting time requests, because at 9 o'clock, no one wants one as soon as you walk through the door. Gives you time to go and get your cereal, go and get your brew, stuff like that. Work your day out, and then 10 a.m, bam, you seem to be in meetings all day. But I appreciate every single one of you that have joined us for the last 2 years. We've seemed to have built a very, 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 very well-established community in terms of you supplying us with video game news, as well as getting involved in the chat live. So we very much appreciate every single one of you that have done that for us so far. We hope to continue this and hope it'll be bigger and better as we go further on. But that's enough of me rambling so far about how you can find us. Usually we do a little bit of a segment where Graham goes, Bib, in a very sharp, small way. You go, what did you play last night? Well, Graham, what did I play last night? That's a very good question. Oh, Red Faction on my Nintendo Switch. It was down to like £4 or something like that, so I picked it up. Red Faction. It was a remastered version. I did really, really enjoy the Red Faction on the Xbox 360. So, boy, again, really good game. Probably played it for an hour or two. Tino says porn downloads. Who's downloading porn nowadays? You watch it on your phone, which is a very good point. Never touch somebody else's phone. You have no idea what they've had in the palm of their hands. Never touch somebody else's phone. That's a wise words for today. And then also I played a little bit of FIFA last night in Seasons mode. It's been a long time since I booted up FIFA. I had to re-download most of it. A big dirty patch. But yeah, I played okay on that. Believe it or not. I mean, I'm playing people against my skill level, which is nice in Division 9, so it is what it is. Yeah, and I think that's pretty much it. I have no idea. Graham probably played PUBG, that's all you need to know. He's probably flying through a new season pass of some sort. I think I've seen season pass 10 knocking about, so he's probably flying his way through that. Anyway, I'm going on a tangent. We don't need to know what both of us are playing. You want to know the news, and you want to know about E3 because that is our main news article for today. You may have seen it on social media. I'm hoping that my stream deck's going to work. Start the show. Is my microphone on? Is my microphone on? It wasn't yesterday. And the news article isn't on. Fantastic. Who knew? Who knew that this would have been the thing? Okay, so if I do that, boom. There we go. Why is it so zoomed? That's odd, isn't it? Can I do... That is so weird. Why does it look like that? Oh, well. See, this is why Graham does this stuff. There we go. Doing stuff on the fly, who'd have thought? Anyway, if I move this over there a little bit, there we go. Look at that. Hey, don't say I don't do anything for you. Perfecto. Nailed it. Anyway, let's get into the news article. This has been written on Eurogamer by Emma Kent. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to take it. You can hear it already, can't you? You can hear it. There we go. I've lubed my mouth up. We're ready for the first news article of the day. E3 2021 will be a free online-only event, the ESA confirms, running from the 12th of June to the 15th of June. Following reports that E3 will be returning this year as a digital event, the Entertainment Software Association, the ESA, has now officially confirmed that E3 2021 will be an online-only affair, and it will be free to watch. Taking place between the 12th and the 15th of June, E3 will return as a reimagined all-virtual event, allowing developers to showcase their latest games and news. The ESA will now be working with the media partners globally to help amplify and make this content available for everyone for free, the ESA said. We are evolving this year's E3 into a more inclusive event, but we'll still look to excite the fans with major reveals and insider opportunities that make this event an indispensable centre stage for video games. The ESA president and CEO Stanley Pierre-Louis. Hey, nice. I nailed that one. Easy. The show has so far been backed by the Nintendo, Xbox, Capcom, Konami, Ubisoft, Take-Two Interactive, Warner Brothers Games, and Koch Media. That's already a solid lineup, and the ESA promises there will be more to come. Although it's worth noting that Sony appears to once again be absent, suggesting the company may be skipping the show for the third year in a row. The ESA's heavy emphasis on this being a free event is likely in response to a report claiming that the ESA had pitched plans to put some content behind a paywall via VGC. Understandably, this idea didn't sit too well with many in the online industry, and the ESA swiftly stepped in to reassure fans that there would be no elements of E3 behind a paid pass or paywall. Last year's E3, of course, was cancelled due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and although this year brings promise of vaccines, it seems we're some way off the return to massive live events. The ESA has certainly taken a more cautious approach this year, but said it looks forward to welcoming guests to an in-person show in 2022. This year's Gamescom, meanwhile, is due to having a significant expanded digital show, and a final decision is yet to be made on whether the physical show will return. Given 373,000 people attended Gamescom in 2019, which me and Graham was one of them, I imagine that at least a couple of the changes will have to be made. See? Managed to get through that one without dying. I think I read that one pretty well. But in terms of how E3 is shaping up this year, I think this is actually going to be a pretty good show. I don't think that they had much choice. I mean, they could have abandoned it again for another year. But I think if they missed 2 years, I don't think it would ever have made an appearance again. I think people probably wouldn't have been asked. It's good to see them back because E3, for as long as I have been a conscious part of the video gaming community, it's always been the event that I've looked forward to. There's always Gamescom and there was always E3. They're the two majors, in my opinion, in my life, where I've always looked forward to. And E3 has always been around. So having that as part of your gaming calendar for the year is always nice. It's like the Masters. The Masters at the golf is starting this week. That has always been, for me, one of the biggest competitions in golf. That seems to kickstart the year. So having this now, I am looking forward to it. I think there'll be many people out there that will, through gritted teeth, say that they're kind of looking forward to it because they kind of want this thing to fail. Me and Graham talked about this a million times. I don't think I've ever wanted this to fail. I've always just wanted it to adapt and become something different, because I feel like it has got stale over the years. It seems to be the same thing, regurgitated shite, just new trailers, blah blah blah. Insert new game coming out this year here, but it's the same stuff every single year. I feel like they've needed to try and adapt and overcome what we perceive in a digital age. I think how Gamescom run theirs is so much better than E3. I mean, I've never been to an E3. I've only ever seen the online presence of it. So forgive me if I think if the actual live event is so much better than obviously what you're seeing online, which it should be really, because you're going to an event to meet people. You're there to talk to people, meet like-minded people, and enjoy either the new things that are coming later on in the year, or just talk about, like, there was a lot of stuff from Gamescom where me and Graham went where we were taken away from it, brought it back to the scoop, or just reported on it there and then via the Ice Cream Upload social channels. So having that presence there would be fantastic. I've never been. I'd hope to go at some point in the very near future, pandemic aside. So having it back this year, I'm very interested to see what the digital event is going to look like, whether or not they're taking huge inspiration from other shall we say, market leading in digital events, because the likes of State of Play, the Xbox conferences, and Nintendo Directs, all of those things seem to be leaps and bounds ahead of what E3 was giving us. It's very difficult for them to be able to give you a show that will last for 3 days, like 8 hours a day for 3 days. That's a lot of content to try and buffer in there, whether or not it's going to be an event where, I don't know. E3 has always been super expensive for publishers and people to be used as a marketing tool. I don't know how much it's going to cost them for this, considering it's going to be a free event for everyone to be able to go to. I don't know whether or not it's going to be a cut price thing where it may usually cost them £100,000 to advertise there, and it's now only costing them 10 to 15, depending on the slot that they're going to take. We'll never know the numbers, unfortunately, because that'll be good to be able to know, because that should be the market. This should be the market leading thing now going forward. Like, have the live shows. That's fine. People can go. They can experience E3 for in its absolute entirety. However, having a digital version where people can experience it on a 3-day event, not like maybe to the extent of like a festival where you got Glastonbury and things like that lasts for like 2 or 3 days, where BBC are there all day. They're filming the shitty stages in the back where they might only have 50 people there, but then they'll obviously go to the pyramid stage where there's like 80,000 people there watching it. It'd be nice to be able to give access to the booths that are way in the back, like room 7 all the way in the back, where there might only be a load of indie games where it's just one console, one monitor, and it's not even got it's got the roller banner next to it. Do you know what I mean? Where it's just they've paid $3,000 to be there for like 3 days because it's right at the very back. No one's ever seen it. Stick some cameras over in the back there. Let's see what everything else is. Let's see what the other half are doing rather than just the AAA side. I feel like that would encourage people to be able to maybe take a chance on a game that they never would have been able to see before. Like there was a bit at Gamescom where I got to play. I haven't even got I think it might be behind me in my drawers. But I went to go and play like the Angry Video Game Nerd game, where it was just like a very small bit. Funnily enough, it was right next to the Codemasters bit. And I can't remember what the game was called that Codemasters was just bringing out. It was like a track game. I think it came out like 2 months ago. But they had like 4 consoles or something there, and then had a load of indie games. That is just like 2 blokes working in their bedroom or something like that. So they had a load of consoles, maybe 10 of them, 5 on each side, and it had a load of different indie games. It wasn't the same game twice in this little area. And that was cool because you got to speak to the community manager. There wasn't being tied up by the likes of obviously IGN and Eurogamer and VGC, all that, trying to get scoops for their website. But you got to speak to the people who are making the games, and you got to experience games that I never would. Some of them were fucking well hard because that seems to be the way indie 2D side-scrolling games seems to be the hardest games on the market. But yeah, that's just stick a camera over there for like half a day and just get some exposure to those indie games. I was going to say tiny games, but that's a bit. But yeah, just make it something more worthwhile, because we all know there's going to be a new Call of Duty. We all know there's going to be a new Battlefield. We all know there's going to be all these AAA games that come out every single year. A lot of people care about that stuff, but I can guarantee now the surge in indie games from the likes of Steam, from the likes of the Nintendo Switch, all the indie games now seem to be doing it extremely well. So let's put some let's get them front and center for at least half a day. It's all they deserve, really. Let's be honest. They deserve to have some kind of exposure, not just pay $3,000 and then be chucked at the back when no one wants to see that, or no one's going to see that anyway. Can't tell my mouth for getting dry. Then I have no idea. Well, Graham can talk for about 17 days straight anyway without even taking any food or water. So I don't know how he manages to do this. Anyway, that's my truths being spat right there. Wes says this is one for the audio listeners. What were Iceman says they're still finding a way of revealing everyone's personal data. Yeah, they've just got it on a billboard right outside. So as soon as you put your hand on there for recognition, your date of birth, your address, your national insurance number all comes up on a giant screen for them. Blue Pine says hello to you. Hope you're doing okay. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Iceman says, wait, so you and Graham somehow merged together for Gamescom 2019? We merged together, exactly, yeah. We're both the same person. Spike, sup gangsters, with the tier 1 for 14 months, you absolute shagger. Thank you very much, mate. I hope you're doing well. Are you in work today? Oh, is this you on your break or something like that? I hope you're doing well, pal. Oh, right. So, that's E3 done. The big news story is out the way. Dave says, Graham's always been a gobby git. That's why he can talk for ages. That's coming from his brother. That's not coming from my mouth. That's coming from his brother. I felt I was going full Partridge then. Spike says he's got a second job. Jesus Christ. So I won't dox you or anything like that. But yeah, congratulations. 2 jobs. That's mint. Tito says, does that make them collectively known as Grabby? I think it's Gribby. I think that's what we was going for. That's Team Grib. We've used that in, I think, a few esports tournaments. Team Grib. That was us. But anyway, let's move on to the next news article. It's very difficult to be able to do these doll-ups. As I said, I don't know how Graham manages to do them because I just feel like I'm talking and I'm boring myself with my own voice. Spike says that when they don't have a shower, then it's Team Grubby. Hey, you only use 1 bar of soap. Right, so this one was submitted, but I think it was Lake. Let me just double check. Yes, it was Lake. It was Lake. And then there's one by Chappers as well. So this one's been submitted to us by Lake. I think he was the first person in the chat this morning, so round of applause for that, man. Let's see how this one looks on the screen. Why is it so much bigger than it was yesterday? Oh, maybe I shouldn't have said that. Does this look okay now? Yes, it does. Okay, so this has been written on IGN. Again, it's submitted by Lake, so thank you very much, buddy. And it's been written by Brian Barnett. Now, this obviously does have a little video in the middle here. I'm not going to be obviously playing that because, 1, it'll get us copyright stricken, and 2, You want to listen to me. That's what you're here for. But anyway, IGN's Ryan McCaffrey has sat down with IO Interactive CEO and co-owner Hakan Abrak to discuss the studio's history in the latest episode of IGN Unfiltered, which watch the full movie interview tomorrow, along with the team's upcoming James Bond game, Hitman 3, separating from Square Enix, and much more. Abrak confirmed that IO won't be using the likeness of any actor who has portrayed 007 in the past, but that's not the only place IO is differentiating itself from what Bond has done before. The team will also be creating a completely new story for their original Bond. When asked if IO would be taking inspiration from the Bond films or books, Abrak said, "It's important to mention doing a licensed game is new to us. We've only done our own IPs, intellectual property." I don't know why. Surely everyone knows that. I've lost it. Oh, yeah, right. So we've created these characters ourselves from scratch. So I think for us really to embrace this fully and really, as I said before, we don't like to work mechanical. It's not because it's a big IP or it's a licensed game, and commercially, this is interesting. It means nothing to us. We've taken a lot of non-commercial risks before. So for us, it's about we need to feel it deep inside. The passion needs to be there, so it's very important for us. That it wasn't a movie adaptation. So it wasn't a game about a specific movie where the story has already been told. He continued, "It's very important that we could create a digital Bond, a Bond for the gaming industry, so it's completely original story. This felt really, really important to us, and we conveyed that James Bond owner, Eon, and they agreed that the result would probably be better doing it like that. There's always excitement around a new Bond. It's amazing what they have done with the franchise over the years. Every Bond kind defines a generation. It's amazing how they kept reinventing themselves over many years. So we're not really inspired by one movie or game or whatnot. What's inspired us the whole thing is that sucking things into us to make an original Bond, an original story, but that is absolutely true and recognisable in the values there is in Bond. I'm really looking forward to creating a new community that gamers can call their own." For more information, read all the best and brightest frustration manner. Watch IGN Unfiltered to find out more. That's pretty much the end of that story. So, dropping everything. So brand new James Bond is going to be a brand new story, which is fantastic. I think the licensed game route has always been a tricky situation, whether or not it's the retelling of a famous James Bond story, or using the characters from inside there. I think we ended up getting it From Russia with Love game on the PlayStation 2 and maybe the for Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3, where it was obviously about 20 years out of date, but we ended up getting a retelling of that story. I think that was the one with Sean Connery, wasn't it? So we ended up getting a brand new video game based off of that Bond game, but taking the Hitman inspiration for a James Bond game, you could pretty much have them interchangeable anyway. Obviously Hitman, where you're getting dressed up as different things, and basically cosplaying your way to the end goal, whatever it is. I haven't played a Hitman game in what feels like forever. It must be at least 20 years since I played a Hitman game. It's just kind of not my bag. I mean, was it even available 20 years ago? Maybe. I don't know what the first Hitman game was. I haven't played it in what feels like forever. I've probably played one of them. It's just not my bag. I can't do stealth games. I'm far too gun-ho. I know you can do that in this, and it's a lot more difficult, but I just like to get in and get shit done. So these kind of games, probably this James Bond game may be my bag. I don't think it will be unless there has got action elements in there. But I feel like having a James Bond character in a Hitman game is the right thing, especially when it's. Have we seen what the James Bond looks like yet? Is it just a generic stocky looking bloke with black hair? Is that? I imagine that's probably what it's going to be. But I feel that the trailer's 58 seconds. I'm sure we can watch this. Let's turn the volume down. Oh, better bring it back on screen now. So I mean, this trailer is pretty good. I like the bullet going into the chamber because you kind of get the vibe straight away. There's the iconic barrel, and then it starts to fade to white. I know you probably can't hear that. Well, those of you that listen to this on audio, I very much apologise. This is why you need to watch it live or on demand. But that's the kind of thing that you start to get. Oh, yeah, 007. Very the iconic inside the barrel of the gun. I think this is going to be a good game for them. I think this is going to make them a lot of money. I think we haven't had a James Bond game in what feels like forever. And again, I've said this many times over the last couple of minutes. Merging what you'd expect from a James Bond game into a Hitman franchise, it kind of goes hand in hand. You kind of expect that. But yeah, that's enough about that. That is enough about that. Fatman Dave says, I wonder if Brian Barnett is related to Jeep Barnett. The old Jeep Barnett. What was the... It was something Fringe, wasn't it? Range Rover Fringe or something like that. That was classic. Tito says, can't wait for the sequel, 008. Iceman says, in before Lance Stroll and Sebastian Vettel cameos. Is Sebastian Vettel an F1 guy? Does he drive cars for a living? I genuinely have no idea. That joke's gone way over my head. But anyway, I'm going to take a quick swig of my drink before we move on to the next news article. I mean, we are flying through these today. I apologise. If you was here for if you wanted to be here for an hour and a half like usual, I very much apologise. This is going to be the quickest show of your life. Oh, they both are. Okay, that shows how much I know about my F1. Basically, I know fuck all about F1. I know Lewis Hamilton is pretty good at driving a car. That's about it. Anyway, moving on to the next news article. This has been written. Let me see what this looks like on the preview. And it looks good. We're okay. This has been written by Andy Robertson over at VGC. Sony claims it's... Oh, sorry. This was the one that was submitted by Chappers. Chappers, if you're here, nice one, Shagger. Sony claims it was MLB's decision to put its baseball game on Xbox Game Pass. The Show 21 will release on Xbox services this month, but PlayStation owners will need to buy it. Sony Interactive Entertainment has claimed that the decision to put its internally developed baseball title, MLB The Show 21, on Xbox Game Pass was the license holder's decision. Xbox announced last week that the PlayStation Studios title will be free to Xbox Game Pass subscribers on its release date of April 20th for both Xbox One and Xbox Series S and X. The move was surprising since the game, which is developed by Sony's San Diego studio, will release on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 console as a standard $60 or $70 game. Now, in a fresh statement issued to Inverse, Sony has claimed that the decision to release the Show 21 on Xbox Game Pass was MLB's decision. As part of the goal for next year, MLB decided to bring the franchise to more players and baseball fans, a PlayStation representative said. This decision provides a unique opportunity to further establish the MLB The Show as a premier brand of baseball video games. Is there any other game? Is there any other baseball game out there? Let us know. Sony was already urged to adopt a multi-platform release strategy for the show as part of the multi-year extension to its MLB licensing deal signed in 2019. The MLB The Show series of baseball games started in 2006 and has always been exclusive to PlayStation platforms, going back to the original game on PlayStation 2 and PSP. The 2021 edition marks the first time Sony is bringing the game to a non-PlayStation system. The Show 21's addition to Games Pass is significant because of PlayStation's previous comments about subscription models for new games. Speaking to the GamesIndustry.biz in September last year, SIE President Jim Ryan claimed a subscription-type model would be unsuitable for PlayStation Studios because it is often seen as game budgets grow well over $100 million. We have had this conversation before. We're not going to go down that road of putting new release titles into a subscription model, he said. These games cost many millions of dollars, well over $100 million to develop. We just need to see that as sustainable. He added, we want to make bigger games, bigger and better. So hopefully at some stage more persistent. So putting those into subscription models one day for us doesn't make any sense. For others in different situations, it might well make sense, but for us, it doesn't. We want to expand and grow our existing ecosystem, and putting new games into a subscription model just doesn't sit well with that. Okay, so I've got a very mild opinion on this. It's probably not as strong as what most people are probably expecting from my mouth. But I honestly can't think of another baseball game that's potentially out there. If they've signed a deal with MLB, Obviously, that is I imagine the governing body of the baseball world. Sorry, I thought I was going to say, hey, Jesus Christ. I apologise. Usually I'd mute that, but I thought it had gone. So I apologise, Jesus. What a show you're getting today. But with this being the only baseball game that's potentially out there, again, I've not done my research in this. It has only ever been on PlayStation, right? So how do you test the waters for how many people are going to potentially buy this game on a different platform? If this has only been on one platform since 2006, so it's been there for 15 years over at PlayStation, how do you test the waters of how many people are going to pick it up on that console? If you can afford to do it, stick it in something like Games Pass. People will still buy this for full price on PlayStation. The market has never changed over a PlayStation. They may have ended up getting more people, they may have ended up getting less people, but I imagine the amount of people, the turnover isn't that much. So say the turnover is 10% of people that are not going to be picking this up this year because they've played the last couple, they haven't potentially liked it. They'll make that 10% up by a mile over on Xbox. So I understand why they're putting it over there this is more of a statement piece more than anything. It's going to go onto a completely different console that's not had the exclusivity for this in 15 years. And it's going into a model where people are already paying for it, so they can try it, they can download it, they can play it for an hour, they can play it for a 2 hour playthrough just to see whether or not they like it. They will probably take that out of Games Pass next year, maybe, and then they can then justify spending $60, $70 on it. This seems to be a very good move for Xbox, in my opinion. Graham's laughing at me sneezing. I think this is a very good move for Xbox as a whole. I do think that they've done this well because put it this way, if they just put a $70 tag on it, people who have an Xbox who are massively into to baseball will probably pick it up. That's fine. How many people is that though? How many people are going to spend $70 on a game that they've never played before, a franchise that they probably never even had hands on before? So putting it in something that they're probably already paying for is a very, very good gateway for them to potentially get $70 from them next year. So I think Xbox have probably done the right thing in this. They already have a well-established model in terms of a monthly subscription. Paid £8 a month to be able to have what seems to be about 150 games at your disposal, whether or not it's on console or PC. I think this is a good move for them. PlayStation obviously can justify sticking a $60 tag on it because they know people are going to pick it up because they have done for 15 years. Otherwise, they wouldn't have still been making these games. So putting it in a little subscription pass for, I say little, a bit condescending, but putting it in a Games Pass model for people to be able to pick up and play for the first time, that is a very good strategy, and I very much appreciate what they're trying to do over there. I know baseball is obviously massive in America. It's huge. I mean, Chucky is probably, I don't know if he's in the chat today. I know Chappers is also a massive baseball fan. I don't know whether or not this is going to suit them because they may not even, I think they've both got PlayStations. So they probably would have been picking this up anyway. But over our side of the pond, I don't know how big baseball is. Genuinely, I have genuinely no idea. I have no idea how big baseball is. So this is a massive tester for everyone. This is a massive tester for everyone. Tito says Xbox Master Race proud to be an ex-boner finally. There's Out the Park, which is a football manager type game. Okay. Iceman says, in relation to both racing for Aston Martin and F1, Daniel Craig appeared in the reveal for the F1 car. Okay. I had no idea. Every day's school day. Graham's laughing at my sneeze. Tito says, I imagine there's some Japanese baseball games. They love baseball, but I'm not too sure. Iceman says, insert nothing will beat Wii Sports version comment. I mean, Wii Sports baseball was fantastic. I thoroughly enjoyed that game. Wes says Xbox full of good moves recently. Exactly. Ice Cream Uploads. Graham says Konami has a baseball game. Do they? I genuinely had no idea. Spike says baseball. Oh, you mean poo rounders? Yeah, exactly. Wes says, did you just Google Ice Cream Uploads? Return of the Mac says Microsoft are winning the console race right now. I mean, they are so far behind. Well, there was so far behind. we say this all the time on here. We have Xboxes. Graham has Graham has two. Sorry, we are PlayStation boys in terms of we have PlayStation. Graham's got 2 PlayStation 5s in his house. He also has Xbox Ones in his house. I have an Xbox One here. Granted, it's from the office, and I brought it here before the pandemic. So I could play some past games. I was an Xbox 360 guy. I had a PlayStation 3. I got rid of it. It just wasn't the console for me. I've moved over from the Xbox over to PlayStation. My allegiances, I am well and truly got splinters in my ass because I'm sat on the fence. I have Games Pass from the PC, so I can play all the Xbox Game Pass games on there. So it's not as if I'm towing one line or the other. However, there was in second place, and have been for the last 8 years. They ruined their own messaging last generation, and they very, very closely nearly made that gap up in terms of marketing messaging and consumer-friendly products, subscription models. They are... I think if you was to put them both in a race now and both starting a clean slate, I think Xbox probably would win it if there was a race on there. But the only person that's going to win out of all of these battles is us. And that's why I don't understand about the whole fanboy situation. The only people who are going to be winning these franchise wars is us. Like, how good was the Monday Night Wars? When we talk about this comparison all the time. The WWE and WCW, their product was never better. It was so good that everyone got exceptional shows every single week until they didn't. Until WWE bought WCW, and then it just turned, and it's never been the same since. We've had obviously some mega matches and things like that, and we've had some people move over from WCW and make these matches that you never would have thought, but they're few and far between. However, at this moment in time, both of these consoles are going at it hammer and tongue, and the only people who are winning out of this is the people who are consuming their products. Like, the products have never been better from a commercial standpoint in terms of what games are available to who and at what price. You can play over 150 top tier Xbox games for £8 a month. The same price. In fact, it's cheaper now than your Netflix subscription. Your Netflix subscription is £10 a month. I think it's going to, well, mine's £10 a month. It's gone up. It's cheaper to play Xbox Game Pass. It's £8 a month to play on Game Pass on PC. You cannot get a better value money for that. It was, how much was it to go to the cinema? From a cinema card, it was like £20 a month to be able to go to the cinema. That was fantastic value for money because it's £20 to go on your own. Do you know what I mean? So the only people that are winning out of this, regardless of what side you're on, is us. Like, the consumers, the people who play these video games, we have access to thousands and thousands and thousands of games for a very cheap price nowadays. I know the price of the games has gone up, but if you're in a subscription model, like PlayStation now apparently has over 700 games. Last time I looked, it definitely wasn't even close to that, and there was all shit. But there is a subscription model there for you if you never played a PlayStation 3 game. If you never had the console, you can go on there and you can play a shit ton of games for £8. It's never been better for us. So the whole console generation thing, it's never bothered me. I will never put my allegiance on either side. I've got a PlayStation 5 and I'm able to play new Xbox games on my PC. I am happy. Like, when it comes to video games, there is never nothing that I don't need to play. I've got all my classic games on shelves behind me. I've got boxes in the bottom of my wardrobe with another maybe 300 games that I can't quite fit on my very small games wall behind me. So the only people that are winning out of this war is us, and long may it continue as well. As long as all these exclusivity happens, it's forcing a hand somewhere else, and then we end up getting better things from it. Whereas Nintendo are just taking a backseat and going, you can still buy Zelda for £50 or buy it. Baby, come over here, Skyrim's 50% off. I would have bought it, but, you know, the only people who are winning out of all of this is us. And as long as we all remember that, that's fantastic. That is all fantastic. Anyway, enough of the WCW, WWE rants. Well, until 1999, 2000. Yeah, but and obviously we had the golden era, but the Attitude Era, nothing even comes close. Anyway, we're going to finish on a very good note here, and I bet you can't guess what it is. Yes, my friends, that is Leon Kennedy holding a shotgun. I only found this out this morning, so I will hopefully try to stream this for you tomorrow. But the Resident Evil Reverse Open Beta will be available today and preload today. This was written yesterday. Unfortunately, I didn't even see this It had obviously gone live after we'd gone live. But the playable test kicks off on Thursday and lasts for 3 days. The open beta for Capcom's new Resident Evil multiplayer game Reverse will be available to preload today from 8 PM EDT or 1 AM GMT. Okay, so it only went live this morning, so I haven't missed much. As previously confirmed, the beta will be playable on consoles and PC, Steam, for everyone with a Capcom ID from Thursday, April 8th until Sunday, April 11th. Those who downloaded January's closed beta test version of the game will not need to re-download the open beta test. Reverse is an online-only title billed as a celebration of the 25th anniversary and comes bundled for free with the upcoming Resident Evil Village game. The game has players controlling various Resident Evil characters in a 6-person deathmatch as shown in January's player footage. The players must collect virus samples littered around the map, which increases their damage and accuracy. Once killed, the players are transformed into various monsters and continue attacking other players. The type of monster you transform into is also determined by how many virus samples you collected before being defeated. Get enough of you and you can become a tyrant. Each character has unique weapons and skills, while the comic book style visual filter can be switched on and off via the graphics menu should players prefer a more traditional look. Resident Evil Village's May 7th, 2021 release date was confirmed during a Resident Evil showcase event in January, where Capcom announced that the release of the demo on a PlayStation 5. Capcom recently confirmed that Resident Evil showcase is planned to take place in April. Yay, that's this month. We don't want to spoil any surprises, so we'll leave it all for you to speculate on what this upcoming presentation might contain, the publisher said. So, I do have a PlayStation ID. It says supported hardware, PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 4 Pro, Xbox, Xbox One X, PC and Steam. So I do have, obviously, PlayStation knocking about, 1 or 2. So I'll be able to download. I think I might download it on Steam though. I was genuinely I thought it was only for Xbox. Looking at social media yesterday. So yeah. Very interested in this. I don't know how good it's going to be. What's Resident Evil, says Graham. Cam gives a wave. Hi, Cam. How's it going? I'm super looking forward to this. My opinion has changed because I've played as recently. Again, I downloaded Resident Evil Resistance because I thought it's getting a bad rep. I've given it a bad rep because it's a terrible game. So I thought, you know what, I'll download it again. I'll give it another chance. It's still shit. It's still really bad. I can't get into it whatsoever. There's just no redeeming feature. Sorry, the redeeming feature is the teamwork element of it. So some people may go into one room, take out a few zombies, pick up a few pieces, they go and put the pieces in the puzzle, you're able to open the door. That's really cool. But the mastermind aspect of it really does ruin it. I hate the mastermind. Like, the mastermind would control all of the cameras. He'll be able to see exactly where you are. The cameras can then turn into machine guns, or they can spawn zombies right in front of you, which then overpowers you. So you literally, there's not enough bullets or anything like that to be able to get rid of them, to be able to move into a new area. It's a massive pain in the ass. If they didn't have the mastermind in it, Resistance would be the new Outbreak, and I think that would be really cool. But it's not. It's been ruined by the mastermind part of it. This, however, I had a look at the trailers for this, and I watched a few gameplay. I watched Resident Evil play the beta of this, the first one, the open beta, and it kind of does look a little bit fun. It does look a little bit fun. It's not taking itself too seriously, I don't think. I think it's more or less just a 4v4 shooter, like a team deathmatch situation, which has power-ups, which I kind of like. The comic book style of it looks awful. I'll never be turning that filler on. But I do like the look of how this is going to play. I mean, it's going to be a free game again. Yeah, we'll just wait to see. I'm gonna download this, and I'm gonna stream it over the next couple of days. What I download it on and stream it on, I'm not too sure. Maybe my PlayStation 5. Chances are it's gonna be my PC. So we are gonna get a first look at this on this channel. Whether or not people want to join in with us if they have a Capcom ID. Surely some of you should have a Capcom ID. You've played a Resident Evil game. There should be some of you out there that have. So if you want to join in, let's do that. But I am looking forward to this. Iceman says, Big Zombie Monkey, it's the working title for Nightmare Next Door. Okay. So, yeah, it's because Ice Cream Uploads and Spike both have the same colour, and it's both purple, and I can't see it on my black background. The name looks like it's the same size, so I just assumed. And obviously Spike's been a subscriber for us for absolutely forever, so he's got the same ice cream next to his name. So I apologise. Ice Cream Uploads, Iceman, understandable, both classic. I mean, You said it. You said it. I mean, the massive camera next to your name, Graham, didn't give it away. So I'm interested about that. Never played it. Huge fan of Resident Evil 2. Mate, if you've... Resident Evil 2, the remake, I mean, the original one was my favourite ever game anyway, but the remake has overtaken that. So the Resident Evil 2 remake is now my favourite game ever. I mean, it's not hard. Just play the game and you'll realise it for yourself. It is a fantastic, fantastic game. It has everything that I could have ever wanted in that game. And it looks incredible. So I'm going to play this. I'm going to give it a chance. I'll give any Resident Evil game a chance. I mean, if you've played Resident Evil Gun Survivor 1, Gun Survivor 2, Code Veronica, and then Dead Aim, Operation Raccoon City, Resident Evil 6, all of those, if you've played any of those, you've got to give this one a try. So yeah, I will be playing this one at some point. But that is it for today's show. It's only $1 because it's only me. We haven't dropped any frames. We have not dropped one single frame. I said at the beginning of the show that I've changed all my power lines around the house. I've put new Ethernet cables in. Boy, are we getting some speeds now. We're nearly reaching cap, which is like double what we was getting previously. No drop frames. I'm so happy. So it means that I can stream online games without the thought of it dying on me by taking too much bandwidth up. But we will be streaming this afternoon. I'm genuinely not sure what, because I've got that many games down. I'm replaying through the Resident Evil games on my console because I want to get as many Resident Evil Portal points as I can before obviously Resident Evil Village comes out. So I don't know whether or not I'm going to play a Resident Evil game. I'm so shit at PES at the moment in time that I don't really want to play that. So I genuinely have no idea what I'm going to be playing. But there's only one way that you can find out, and that is by following us on social media, which is at Ice Cream Uploads across all major social media platforms. You can get involved with our Discord as well, which you can then supply us with some video game news, very much like Lake and Chappers has done today. And we'll be back tomorrow at 10 a.m.-ish with Thursday's news for you. I mean, it's your favourite podcast. It's our favourite thing to do, to be able to do on this channel. We do it every single weekday at 10 a.m. ish. And again, I said at the top of the show, the amount of downloads that we're getting on this podcast and the amount of people who are turning up every single day to give us information, to be able to join in the comments. If you are watching this on YouTube, please, there's a few of us that have actually started watching this live, going over to YouTube, re-watching it and getting in the comments. Honestly, that is incredible. Thank you so much to be able to do that one. Yeah, my chatbot's not working. I need to get the key off Graham. But anyway, I very much appreciate every single one of you that have joined us for today. Again, we will be live tomorrow at 10 a.m.-ish. Stick around on our social medias. I'll be going live with something. I just need to do a few work things, so it'll be within the hour. We'll be going live with something. I'm not entirely sure what it is, but follow us on social media to find out what that is. But until if you're not watching in the streams tomorrow, later on this afternoon, if you are going to be back tomorrow, there's only one thing that I want you to do, and that, my friends, is one, look after yourself, and two, stay frosty.